and I'd like to invite Cherrie to come forward. Hi, Cherrie. Good to see you.
Hi.
Hi.
It's
Hey,
so
and
much.
yeah, before I give the floor to you, Cherrie, um, you're from the Philippines, although currently, by some coincidence, you are in the Netherlands. I know, but you are the CEO and the president of AGREA, Agricultural Systems International. That's a purpose-driven agribusiness in the Philippines, and you can explain more about the work that you've been doing. But apart from being very much involved as a farmer and as an agribusiness entrepreneur, I know you've also been very active in policy influencing at various global platforms. And I know that you're also on the board of GAIN and on the board of East West Seed Company and the foundation. So I think there's lots of different experiences that you bring. And last but not least, you're also an alumni of this e-course, because I think in one of the very first editions, you were a very active participant. And that's, I think, also one of the things that we want to do more in this course, that we want to provide a platform for some of our alumni to also share their experience and their views on food systems. So, Cherrie, very, very much welcome. And I'd like to give you the floor. And please listen carefully. If you've got questions, keep them coming in the chat. And after Cherrie's presentation, we'll have a bit of a conversation between Cherrie, Inge, and ourselves. So, Cherrie, there you go. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Herman, for inviting me. I'm so glad I'm back as an alumna. And as always, learning from Inge is such a magnificent treasure of information and knowledge. I will going to share my screen for my presentation. And, as Herman was saying, if you have questions, please feel free to share them later. So as mentioned, I run my own social enterprise. I know that a lot of you here, like me when I was a student of this course, I was asking a lot of questions. Is there a single solution to basically tackle our problems and transforming the food systems, right? So my topic right now is how to put a food systems approach into action. So as an entrepreneur, I think I would say that there are just so many opportunities you can do. There are so many problems in fixing our food systems. As on the first screen of Inge, when it was shared, so many people are saying it's comprehensive, it's complex, it's like a whole lot in there. But I'm telling you, to save your sanity, you need to choose your battle, because we cannot fix everything together. For me as an entrepreneur, I just choose whatever I could solve, and I focus on those areas. So sharing about our company, it's I always believe in cultivation of human beings. As always, right? A lot of us are always asking about yield, about the result on the amount of things that we're doing. But I always focus in our company to remind our people, have we really done something to the lives of the food producers? Because it seems a crime against humanity that the farmers, the food producers, who are also consumers, are hungry, poor, and malnourished in some parts of the world. In my country, the Philippines included. So when I designed my company, and actually I overhauled a lot of our strategies after learning in this e-course, that's such a valuable resource. So we believe that, we really need to strategize properly on anchoring our visions. Our vision is to create like a one island economy model in the Philippines. It's because our country has 7,107 islands. And it's so difficult logistics wise. It's so difficult in terms of climate change, because we are the number one disaster risk country in the world for the last 3 years. I'm not so proud of it, but it's always a challenge that is real, felt by so many people in the Philippines. And at a very point, we need to do interventions to make it happen. So when we were designing our company 10 years ago, we said, how can we focus on something that's doable, that we can put action? So we focus on mitigating zero waste, zero hunger in areas we operate, and of course, in our contribution to the Philippines in general, and of course, zero insufficiency in our business approaches. So I think before I start more on my presentation, I will share this video because when I was doing the course, this video also was released. And actually, this was happening in the middle of the pandemic. So during the day, I was selling vegetables, fruits, and everything about agriculture. And at night, in the Philippines, I was attending my class, and this video was released and done by Irish Aid.
Cherrie, we do not hear the sound. Maybe you can share the sound. So you stop it and you restart it, and then you say, share the sound.
There's really no sound from the start.
No, we
you-
don't hear it. You might hear it, we don't.
One pineapple
Can you
farmer
hear it?
called our CEO to ask for help in
Can you hear it now?
Yes.
Yes. So the start of the video, there's really no sound. It's just the words you need to read.
Okay, sorry.
So that's the voice you start here. I'll put it a little bit back. Yeah.
one pineapple farmer called our CEO to ask for help in moving his pineapples to the market because he was having problems of selling these pineapples because there was no market anymore.
There was a call for help and we stepped up and helped. We just hit the ground running. We had to start from the bottom, which is farmers' capacity building, so that we could bring about a more impactful change and help prevent overproduction, hence also prevent food wastage, which has become a big problem during this pandemic.
The call of that one pineapple farmer became a movement of 30,000 more farmers through movement initiative.
So that's what I was doing during the pandemic while I was also taking the course. It was a huge challenge, but I think what was the best solution to that is always ask for help. So I think all of us here, it's necessary to always ask for help. When one pineapple farmer asked me for help, I said like, okay, I'll help you sell your pineapple. Just bring it to my place. And it took us 6 hours to bring it to my place because of all the checkpoints. And I was the only one and the driver and the farmer who were carrying 1,500 pineapples. And I posted it on my social media. The 1,500 pineapples was sold in 1 hour. And then we helped, more and more farmers. And in that video, we help around 30,000 farmers. But the key to that actually is I wrote a letter to the Minister of Agriculture in the middle of the pandemic and said, can you please help in issuing food pass so that we can help more farmers, we can mobilize logistics, we can open a little bit stores with, with respect to the pandemic protocols. So we made it happen and the impact was really huge. So it actually mobilized all over the country. It was adopted by local government units. But at the end of the day, we went back to business after the pandemic, right? Because the challenge continues and it got worse. And more so, climate change. So during the pandemic, we experienced around 3 typhoons. And after the pandemic, another 4 typhoons hit the country. And we said, how do we help the farmers more and more? Because before the pandemic, we're only working with 2,500 farmers. And during the pandemic, 30,000 more farmers applied to our work in the company. They always wanted to be connected to market. So what we did is we really focused on how Filipino agriculture, that being threatened by climate change could be supported. So we think a lot We tried to work with supermarkets. It was so difficult because retail institution has its own protocol. And if you work with smallholder farmers, they don't have post-harvest facilities. They don't have the capacity on infrastructure, even farm to market roads, and even logistics was so difficult. So what we did is we continue our work with commissaries. And we got a huge account, which is Sodexo, the largest French catering company present in 75 countries. And we got a huge deal with them to be their partner in the Philippines. So in the goal that they will not import a lot of fruits and vegetables anymore and redesign their menu, which we call menu engineering, to base it on what the farmers could plant in the Philippines from January to December. So it really changed our efforts in terms of our business because before the farmers would plant and they're waiting for market. Right now, we have huge commissaries. We are feeding 60,000 people every single day, 5 times a day, on workforce nutrition and plow it back to our farmers. So in this work, in this screen that I was sharing to you, it really helped the farmers survive climate change because now we have the liberty to design the menu based on seasonality, based on the rotation of climate, a typhoon in the Philippines, where we have around 20 to 21 typhoons in the Philippines, and it's getting stronger at the end of the year. So in this approach now, it's so easy and mainstream, right? When I opened my talk a while ago, I said you choose your own battle. And this one is such really a clever situation partnering with commissaries. So right now, aside from Sodexo, we also work with hotel chains of companies and other commissaries feeding factory workers and airport workers because most of them are also changing their game on how to source local because of the pandemic that you cannot import food anymore. And then another one is the consumer demand. Most of our clients are big multinational companies like Google, Meta Group of companies, banks, BPO, or call centers. So most of our consumers are also wanting more sustainable and climate conscious products. So for example, one of our clients would say, we want to lessen our carbon footprint by 2025, gearing towards 2030 because our company signed up for 1.5 degree in Paris Agreement. And we want to really make sure that we support local farmers. So when we set an intention as a business, it attracted so many companies who are also looking for local suppliers that they can work with so that they can transition their sourcing local advocacy, but at the same time lowering their carbon footprint. And another one is a lot of our consumers are millennials working on those big companies, and they're always asking for planetary health diet, how they can contribute in mitigating climate change, but at the same time eating healthy. So in combination, in this approach, we help the farmer survive by really planning well the farmer side. Coming from the commissaries, we identify how much volume of fruits and vegetables we need to grow the whole year and how many land of farmers or hectareage of land we need to cultivate in a sustainable way. And the consumers, we continue to educate our consumers to ask for sustainable and climate conscious products. So in the current state of our work, we grow sustainably through contract growing and solidify linkages in the Filipino agricultural value chain. So before, we only work with 2 islands. Right now, we work with so many islands in the Philippines. I think more than 50 islands in the Philippines right now, where we source a lot of these components that we need to feed our 60,000 people daily, 5 times a day. But at the same time, it's growing. So in this approach, I want to focus on the farmers because I think, when we redesign our food systems, of course, the effort on educating our consumers to demand healthier, more nutritious food options, we also come back on how it actually increased the economics of our farmers. Because if we just supply the commissaries and it's not increasing the economics of our farmers, it's not making sense at all. So what we're trying to do is we also support our farmers. So we partner with really good quality seed companies. We also partner with the government to build them infrastructures like farm to market road and even logistics and tracking. So the government now can help us. But what actually beautiful in this work with the farmers, now it's because we have the numbers, we formed the farmers into cooperative and association and even clusters. so that they have economies of scale. It's easy for governance. And if we introduce, agricultural practices where we are now transitioning to regenerative agriculture, it's easy to mobilize because we're not talking to 37,000 farmers individually. We're only talking to them in terms of cooperatives and association. And forming them in cooperatives and association give us a good trust from the government that the government could really fund their infrastructure and also help us to bring them to financial institutions because they have a sure market. Whatever they produce, immediately it has a sure market. So here's our picture last time. This is just one of our farming communities, half of our attendees. So every time we engage a farming community, there's always a requirement. When we connect you to market, you need to stop monocropping. That's the basic requirement to our farmers. So in this farm, we started with 60 hectares. Right now, we're cultivating 300 hectares. And when we started, they were only planting 3 different crops in 60 hectares of land. Right now, they're planting 15 different crops in 300 hectares of land. So, we're also very intentional that if the farmers are joining, they also need to join and sign up for our commitment to our clients and are signed up for a commitment to better the environment around them. So as a group milestone right now for our company endeavor in this aspect, so we have farming capacity. We definitely can scale our work. So now with the 30,000 plus farmers, we have reached to 45 to 50,000 hectares of land. We have national scale. We have government links. Governments institutions are helping us in different ministry level and provincial level. And we have market leadership and sustainability. So more and more market are approaching us. It's because they want our sustainability approach, and they also want to cut their carbon footprints, and they also want to cater healthy and nutritious products to the employees they're feeding in their companies. So, but aside from that, I thought when I was designing this is actually a product of my e-course. So before, AGREA Foundation and AGREA Company are just working in one organization. And after the e-course, we started really redesigning our approach, because you need to be very sustainable as a company. But at the same time, I think I have so much in my heart that I want to give to the community that sometimes in the company, it has restrictions, right? So we started redefining our effort and launched last year a new brand in AGREA Foundation. So actually, this work in the AGREA Foundation started in 2016, but the e-course really propelled me to really put a different identity for this effort. So in this one, if the company is into ecology of dignity in terms of connecting farmers to the market, our foundation is championing a new narrative for agriculture. So we have a farm school. These people here in the picture are graduates of our farm school. These are the focus program that we streamlined. There are 17 sustainable development goals, and our programs that we focus touches on the SDGs listed on the right. For sure, we couldn't work in all the SDGs, but we just choose whatever we could hit in terms of target focus. So I will give you insights on some of these aspects because a lot of this, especially food and climate change adaptation and nutrition resilience, are embedded in our approach. So in agriculture education, we have the farm school. We also have huge presence, not only in the Philippines, but in ASEAN, in empowering young people in agriculture. So we work in ASEAN as well as Timor-Leste right now. We are the leading nonprofit in working with youth in agriculture. And at the same time, we also work a lot with women in agriculture. So I'm actually here in the Netherlands because Netherlands is the EU gender champion in the Philippines. And we launched this together with the Netherlands Embassy, this endeavor called Forward, where we have 5 chapters currently in the Philippines. And in the long term, this is our goal. So basically, Forward is funded by the Netherlands Embassy Development Fund, as well as we also partner with Oxfam for food hives model in the Philippines. So in the long run, this Women Food Producers Association that we started in 2020 right now has 5 chapters in the Philippines. And this is where our work on just focus on women. So because I believe that investing in women is truly an investment in the entire community. And a lot of these women we work are mothers. They want to serve healthy food in their household. They want to contribute to the economics around them. And at the same time, we train them for agribusiness. But if you see at the end box, digital inclusion, I'm actually happy during the introduction. It was mentioned that, we talk about AI, Evo was mentioning about it. The women, when it's too hot in the farm, we partner with organization called Connected Women on digital inclusion. So when it's too hot in the farm, they couldn't go out and work on the fields. They are trained on digital literacy so that they are just sitting on their household. They can make QR codes for companies that are needing QR codes. So that's actually what we're trying to do with these women. So lastly, this is my last slide, is really about policy influencing. So if you box it in, you have so many efforts in the agriculture sector that needs to be changed in terms of how people are running their agribusiness. That's including the farmers, working with the government, working with civil society organizations, but at the same time, working with policy institutions. For me, I'm such a strong believer of policy influencing. So currently, we are working and funded by Australian Aid, Oxfam, and Oxfam in delivering harmonization of civil society organizations that are focused in agriculture to harmonize with the government so that both of them, together with academia, can develop their food security and nutrition action plan and strategic planning in their own LGUs. So I think this is something very simple, very doable that maybe some of you can help with. Thank you so much. This is my last slide, and hopefully you learned from my efforts, and hopefully my professors here and the people in Wageningen University, especially in this e-course, I give you something that's a product of what I learned from this course. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very, very much, Cherrie. And yeah, we're extremely proud of you, but at the same time, we know that it's not just our effort that has led you all this way. And I can see in the chat while you were talking, I think the chat was exploding with questions, but also with compliments. So just have a minute later on to see what people have been throwing at you while you were presenting. I think a lot of people, what you told them really resonated. So